India taxes ESOPs, that's employees' stock options, harshly. In fact, I would say very harshly. Let me give you a quick history lesson. When I founded TV18 in the early 90s, we had at that point in time given what I would call fairly generous stock options to our critical team members. Now, in that sense, we belonged to a clutch of ESOP pioneers in India. And since we were leaders in business news, we also, had to drill down into issues around entrepreneurship, taxation, and union budgets. Now, I'll cut to that very fateful union budget of 2007. Now, in that, the aggressive Mr. P. Chidambaram, the finance minister then, had unveiled what I can only call a very shocking model of ESOP taxation. Let me explain with a very simple example. Now, imagine a stock or a share whose fair market value is, let's say, 100 rupees. Now, to incentivize a key employee, assume that she is given a grant of 1 million options at 10 rupees. Now, this clearly, because of the 90 rupee difference, will give her a potential, note this word, potential income of 90 million or 9 crore rupees. I call it potential because it's not yet a real or a realized income, because obviously no actual shares have yet come into her possession. Now, assume further that she has 2 years, let's say 2 years, to tell the company whether she is accepting the grant or she's not accepting it. Now, this 2-year thing is called the exercise period. The minute she says, yes, I want the grant, she has what's technically called exercised it. But note a very vital fact that it could take several more weeks, even months actually, of fairly complicated regulatory steps for her to actually own these shares after she has said yes. Now, this is where the trouble started. Mr. Chidambaram said she should pay the tax immediately upon the exercise. But, as I've just told you, there's a problem, right? She has yet to get the shares. All the so-called gains are notional, they're on paper. So how and why should she pay a tax on an illusory, on as yet non-existent income? Now, worse, imagine that she gets the shares in 3 months, but something adverse has happened in that hiatus, in that interim period, and say the value of each stock, each share, has dropped to 5 rupees from the 90 rupees that she thought she was going to gain, the 100 rupee price. Now, therefore, see the very ridiculous situation that she will find herself in. She would have paid tax on an income, so-called income of 9 crore or 90 million rupees, even though she has made a loss of 50 lakhs of 5 million rupees. So, you know what? The budget's logic was clearly absurd. It flew in the face of every canon of taxation. That is, tax should be not levied on notional income, should never be levied on losses. But that's how it happened, and it happened only in India. But now let's come to this year's budget. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that she had fixed the long-festering ESOP tax wound. This is what she said.
During their formative years, startups generally use employee stock option plan, the ESOP, to attract and retain highly talented employees. ESOP is a significant component of compensation for these employees. Currently, ESOPs are taxable as perquisites at the time of exercise. This leads to cash flow problem for the employees who do not sell the shares immediately and continue to hold the same for long term. In order to give a boost to the startup ecosystem, I propose to ease the burden of taxation on the employees by deferring the tax payment by 5 years, or till they leave the company, or when they sell their shares, whichever is the earliest.
Now, when she said this, Indian startups, erupted in cheers. frankly, we are a very strange country. You know, we applaud when a mistake that should not have happened in the first place, when a mistake that is corrected after dozens of years of, you know, very exploitative, almost vicious implementation. Yet we applaud it because in India, an excruciatingly delayed correction, not my words, excruciatingly delayed correction, you know what we call it? We call it reform. Anyway, the real drama and tragedy, and this is almost like a, you know, a garam dharam Bollywood pot boiler, it lay coiled in the fine print of what the finance minister said. Because as usual, you know, unwaveringly, with deadly precision, India's bureaucrats struck to neuter even this so-called tiny reform. Just see what they did. Now, it's not a general policy applicable to all 20,000 or 20,000 plus odd startups. No, sir. It's restricted, hold your breath, it's restricted to only about 250, only 250 of the, you know, few chosen by a committee of government secretaries who have ordained with sort of divine conviction that, you know, come hither, you innovative free newbies, you know, you will enjoy these ESOP tax concessions. And then there is an even sharper sting in the tail. You know, the perverse tax is not abolished, it's only deferred by 5 years. And if you leave the company, you lose the concession. Now this, with one stroke, will end up creating a rigid, inflexible market for hiring talent. So, as I've said before, there they go again, micromanaging and tinkering with the free market of mobile talent. And finally, why is this concession not given to any ESOP holder? Why? You know, is the engineer, for instance, who made Facebook apps work on Geo feature phones, is he or she any less talented and creative? Why is he or she being denied this concession just because he or she works in a large company? Is talent going to be the determinant or the size of the employer's balance sheet? So what can I say in the end? I truly believe that Miss Nirmala Sitharaman's quest was honest. She really did want to correct an injustice. But her bureaucrats simply torpedoed her noble intention. So therefore, alas, ESOP continues to be a much abused acronym in India. Frankly, as it stands today, it expands not to employees' stock options but to an egregious state which is oppressing performers. और अगर यही विचार जो मैंने अभी आपके सामने रखे अंग्रेजी में आप हिंदी में सुनना चाहते हैं तो आप हमारी हिंदी क्विंट की YouTube चैनल पे जाइए और यही वीडियो आपको हिंदी में भी मिलेगा. And of course, you must not forget to like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel right now.